Hello, seventh grade. So today we are going to be talking about our last piece of the project. This is not the actual last piece of the project because we're not in school and it would be really hard for me to guide you through that real last piece. So we're actually going to jump to a fun piece, which is a vacation. It's time to take a break. So here is your scenario. So it seems like you have a little bit of good luck on your side. While going through some old toys at your parents' house, because remember, you moved out of the house, you found a super rare doll and it sold for a lot of money. You are going to use this money to take yourself on a vacation. So there are some restrictions for the vacation. So it has to be in the United States, Canada, and Mexico. So you can't go overseas to Europe, you can't go overseas to Australia, a place like that. It would create too much confusion when it comes to passports and international travel. So we're going to keep it very local. So unfortunately, we have to use our imaginations for this one because I don't think we're going anywhere anytime soon. So, because no two dolls are exactly the same, everybody is going to have a little bit of a different amount for their treasure. So, you're going to click the next slide here, and this whole thing will be shared with you. Everyone gets their own copy, and you're going to click on this link here. It's going to take you to this wheel. So, you're going to spin this wheel once, and I'm going on the honor system with this. And I have a budget of $2,200 to go on my vacation wherever I would like. So now that you have your budget, in my case $2,200, you can start completing the project. So you can't delete the background here, but you can type where it says, all right, put your budget here. I would go ahead and type $2,200. So I know, okay, that's how much I have to spend. Where would I want to go? Maybe you want to go to San Diego or Miami or New York City, wherever it is. Why do you want to go there? Are you visiting family? Is there a museum you wanted to go to? Are you going to go for the nature? Whatever the case may be. How many nights will you be there? Are you going to be there for one night, 3 nights, 2 nights, whatever the case is? And how will you get there? So are you going to drive to this location? Are you going to take a train? Are you going to take a plane? Whatever the case may be. So you're going to put that there. On the next slide, so you need to place to stay. So you need to fill out this chart below. So it is wise to spend about 40% of your overall budget on your hotel. So to find what that 40% is, you could do 0.40 times your budget, and that will give you a rough estimate of how much money you can spend on your vacation. You also need to consider the flights, the food, and a car rental, and activities and things that you want to do there. So that's why I always suggest using maybe 40% in this case. So if you were visiting family, so let's say you have family in Vermont and you're going to go visit them, you're not going to pay for a place to stay necessarily, but your hotel is going to cost you $100. So it'll cover kind of like a thank you gift. So maybe you get your family members a gift card or you take them out to eat one night. It doesn't matter what it is, it's going to cost you $100. But you also still need to include 11% sales tax in that as well. So you need to put the name and the place that you are staying. So if you're staying at a Days Inn, you write Days Inn. If you're staying at my grandma's house, write my grandma's house. How much it's going to be per night. So I would use websites like hotels.com, trivago.com. There's tons that you can use out there, kayak.com, and they'll tell you how much it's going to cost you per night to stay there. So if you're staying with family, it tells you to put $0 here. So then you're going to multiply the price of how many nights you're staying. So if you're staying 2 nights, 3 nights, so I'd multiply, let's say I'm staying 3 nights, I'd multiply 3 times however much it cost me to stay at the hotel. If you were staying with a family member, you just put $100 here. You don't need to multiply anything. And then the cost of your trip plus 11% sales tax. So I actually combined this step, so there's only one multiplication problem you have to do. So you're going to take the number from this column right here and multiply it by 1.11, and you're going to put that number right there. That's going to be how much it costs for you to travel to this place and just stay there. Keep in mind, you're just staying there. You haven't even eaten anything or traveled or anything yet. So the next slide is your transportation costs. So you need to figure out how you're going to get there and how you're going to get home. So your mode of transportation, are you using a car, a train, a plane? And you're going to type that right here. So if you are flying, you're going to be flying out of the Newark airport. So you can go to Google Flights and put in a round trip for where you want to go, and then multiply that ticket price by 1.07. That's how much it's going to cost you in order to fly to your destination. And it's really important that it's round trip. Don't worry about baggage, how much that costs. You just get a very basic ticket. If you are driving, your gas is going to cost you $2.50 a gallon, and your car is going to get 25 miles per gallon. I thought it'd be easier to make this part uniform for everybody. So like we did in the very first part of the project, you're going to go to Google Maps and find out how much the trip is going to cost by finding out how far it is to get there. So let's say you are traveling 100 miles there and 100 miles back. So your round trip would be $200. You would divide that, 200 miles, I'm sorry. You would divide 200 miles by 25, and that's how many gallons of gas you'd have to get, and multiply that by $2.50. And it says that all right here as well, and you would type that answer here. If you're using another mode of transportation, like a train, let's say you're going to New York City for the day, you decide to do a day trip as your vacation, that's totally fine too. You have to find out how much it would cost you to take a train there and back. If you are going to be doing a train into the city, I suggest maybe going from Dover. There are direct lines, and it's probably the quickest way to get there. If you're traveling somewhere else with the trains, maybe play around with NJ Transit's website and see what ticket prices you can come up with. So the fourth part is, what will you be doing when you're staying there? Are you going to be going skydiving, snorkeling, museums, maybe a sporting event, anything like that? So you do already have a couple of expenses in place. The first one is your dining out. So it's going to cost you $250 to eat. And then it's going to cost you $300 to go around your destination. So that means maybe you're taking a taxi or an Uber, maybe you're going on a subway, renting a car, maybe you go on a train when you get to your destination. That's going to be $300 for everybody too. So you can pick now 4 different activities that you want to do and how much they cost. So if you want to go snorkeling, maybe research how much it would be to go snorkeling in that area. Usually there are a lot of mom and pop shops that do the little tours and stuff. So you can look up those. Maybe there is a museum you really want to go to and research the admission price. Go to the museum website, see how much it costs to get in. Let's look at the next piece, number 5. So now you have to total up all of your expenses. So this is going to be the cost of your transportation. So number 3 plus 300. So that $300 comes from this chart right here. And number 3, I'm talking about this page here. So however much it costs you to get to your destination, you're going to add that to 300 right there. The cost of your lodging, which is number 2. So lodging is just a fancy word for saying your hotel. So that's this page right here. So if you were staying at a family member's house, you would put $111 here. If you were staying at a hotel, you would put how much the hotel costs. So cost for all of your entertainment, number 4. It's this slide right here. How much all of this is going to cost. So how much all of this is. Your cost for food is right there, and you have to total it up. So did you stay within your budget? If I had a budget of $2,200 and this totaled up to $2,000, then I stayed under budget. I would write a yes. If I put no, so right here there's an explanation. So if you answered no for the last piece of the table, you have to go back into your planning and figure out a way to afford your trip. So you can have leftover money, which is totally fine, but you can't go over budget. Yes, you might have some saved up from other pieces of the project, but the point of this is to really help you learn how to budget. So you only are going to be using the money that you got after you sold this doll that you found. So the last piece, I'm going too fast here, is right here. So this is really kind of cool. So you have to write me a postcard of where you went on your trip. So greetings from, if you went to San Diego, I have an example of that since I traveled there a few years ago. Let's say you went to the city, or you went to, Vermont, New Hampshire, wherever the case may be. And then you have to write me a little blur about what you did there. Were you visiting friends? What did you do there? You can even talk about a past trip. So that's kind of what I did. I have an example here for you. So like I said, I went to San Diego a few years ago. So Dear Miss Graham, and I'm writing as the person to me, so it's kind of weird, but just roll with it. So, greetings from San Diego. Today I went parasailing with my family. It was such an amazing experience, which it really, really was. I highly recommend it. We found a little Mexican restaurant by our hotel and a place where you can make your own ice cream sandwiches. True and both amazing. I wish I could go back and get them. The local art is amazing, and the people are here are really friendly. See you when I get home from this person, Larry. Who's Larry? I don't know. I just picked a name. And then I put a couple of pictures that represent what I did on my trip. So everybody is going to be getting a copy of this slideshow. So you'll be able to edit and you'll be able to reference this video if you have questions, and always shoot me an email if you have any more questions about it. But like I said, I thought this would be kind of something fun for us to do. You get to plan a little trip, and who knows, maybe you'll get to use this one day. Maybe even, once you graduate college or years down the road, you'll be able to, say, oh, I learned how to plan a trip a couple of years ago. I could do that now. You'd be surprised how many people don't know how to plan a trip. I had a few friends once say, hey, let's go to Ireland. And they said, all right, cool. And then 6 days later, they were in Ireland. They struggled to find their hotels. They overpaid for their flights, and they had a good time, but they definitely paid way more than they should have. So by planning this, you get to learn how much things really cost to travel. And when you ask your parents, can we go to Disneyland for the 8th time this year? And they say no, you know why, because it's really, really expensive. So, like I said, have fun with this piece of the project. You have the entire week to complete this. You can submit it whenever you are done. And once you complete this, you are done for the week. So make sure you do keep checking Google Classroom for any kind of announcements or things that pop up that you might need to do, or things that you need to know. But like I said, shoot me an email if you have any questions, and have fun with this project, guys. I'll talk to you soon.